Today is a new opportunity to improve your English. So hold on to your seat because I've got some breaking news. Well, hello all of my students. I hope you're having a fantastic day. My name is Jay. Welcome back to the channel. It's time to improve your English comprehension, vocabulary, and fluency. I am going to read through an article at a moderate pace and break down key vocabulary words and phrases to help take your English to the next level. Now, I want you to pay attention because I have 6 quiz questions today, and I will also post the answers. So with that being said, I hope you're ready for some learning and some laughter. Let's dive into today's lesson. According to Fox News, Hantavirus outbreak on cruise ship sparks global health concerns. Okay, so there's a new virus, Hantavirus. All right, notice it sparks health concerns across the globe. So when something is sparked, of course, we can talk about objects that cause an igniting a fire. But when something is sparked, when people's concerns are sparked, it says that people's awareness is heightened, okay? So you might say, my curiosity was sparked when I heard about the sale. So I wanted to know, what was the price? What's going on in the store? Let me go shopping and find out. Okay, let's dive into the article and let's see what we can learn today. Health officials are monitoring a deadly hantavirus outbreak linked to the cruise ship MV Hantavirus. I hope I'm saying that correctly. After multiple passengers became seriously ill during an expedition voyage. Okay, notice they are monitoring, so they are watching. So you can monitor your children, you can monitor your dog. You're going to watch, observe, oversee, or give some type of oversight, okay? Let's see, what else can we learn in this sentence? A voyage is simply a trip, all right? When you have a voyage, you have an adventure. Let's see, how can we say it? A vacation, all right? A small or a long trip that is adventurous. Okay, authorities say at least 3 people have died, while several others remain under medical observation. Now, we wouldn't say medical monitoring, we would say medical observation. Or sometimes we say under medical or doctor's care, okay? Hantavirus is a type of virus spread mainly by rodents like mice and rats that can make people seriously sick, okay? So a rodent, all right? Something that you do not care for, a pest. A mouse, a rat. One thing I appreciate about having cats in my neighborhood is they help keep rodents away. Snakes and other little things that can creep into your house and scare you and cause problems or sickness. The outbreak involves the Andes strand of Hantavirus, a rare version capable of limited human-to-human transaction, okay, transmission. So when we say human-to-human transmission, it's a virus that can travel between people. Experts say the confined environment aboard the ship may have amplified the risk of exposure among passengers, okay? So a confined environment, a very small environment. So when you have thousands of people on a cruise ship, that's a confined environment. You're going to be around those people for 3, 7, 10 days or longer, okay? So sooner or later, someone that's sick may cause someone else to get sick. The virus can easily transmit. Amplified, okay? The ship may amplify the risk of exposure, amplify it, to increase. You increase something, all right? So exposure. Let's look at another word that we have here, exposure. When we talk about exposure, it's a noun, all right? Contact with something harmful. Years of sun exposure damaged his skin, okay? So when you are exposed to something, you have contact with it, all right? Now, oftentimes we use the word exposure when it comes to photography. Often, at least back in the day, when you would have to get your film exposed or developed, that was a very common term when it came to taking pictures. Now, most, if not all, pictures are digital. So we don't have to talk about exposure when it comes to developing the picture. But you can take a picture and use a filter and change the exposure, okay? So exposure is a term that can be used when it comes to photography, or you use exposure like in the context of this sentence when it comes to being in contact with people, okay? Passengers described the situation as deeply alarming, okay? With many suddenly placed into quarantine after learning they may have been in close contact with infected travelers, okay? So, alarming, something that is alarming. Say that with me, alarming, all right? Causing fear or concern. Okay, so you might say the Sutton hospital bill was alarming. So we would not necessarily use alarming when you are having concern or fear when it comes to waking up in the morning. So you might say, my phone alarmed me. Okay, so it alerted me. But here, when something is alarming, it causes concern or apprehension or fear. Alarming, all right? Now, when people are placed in quarantine, to be in quarantine is to be in a closed area away from the general public, okay? Quarantine. Several Americans were later transported back to the United States for monitoring and treatment. Okay? Now, let's look at a quiz question. All right? Let's look at a quiz. I have 3 options for you. I want you to try to get these correct. Use the comment section. Contained, alarming, and exposure are your options, okay? Long-term blank to smoke can damage your lungs. Number 2, the sudden news was very blank. And number 3, thankfully, the problem was quickly blank. Okay, so exposure, alarming, and contained. Let's test your memory and your comprehension, okay? Let's dive back in. Officials emphasized that the outbreak remains relatively contained for now, although health agencies continue extensive surveillance efforts to track possible infections across multiple countries. So in other words, they're keeping an eye out to see if anybody else gets sick. Okay. Now, notice this word here, relatively contained. Officials emphasize that the outbreak remains relatively or truly or surely contained, okay? When something is contained, and this will help you answer one of the questions in the quiz, something that is contained is kept under control, okay? It's an adjective. It describes a noun or how something is or should be. Okay, thankfully, the kitchen fire was contained quickly. Or you might need to use it like this. You could say, you contained your anger very well. Okay, or please contain your dog before it jumps on me. Get Ralphie, contain him. Okay. Let's look at the next word, surveillance. I taught you this one, I believe, last week. So when something or someone is under surveillance, they're being watched. Okay? It's close monitoring of something or someone. So you might say the neighborhood added surveillance cameras after break-ins. Okay? So they could watch and see what was going on and possibly catch the thief. All right? We're almost done. Let's see. Medical experts say hantavirus infections can rapidly escalate, especially when symptoms begin affecting the lungs and respiratory system. Okay? Rapidly. Okay? Quickly. Fast. All right? Without stopping. Something that is rapid can, notice, escalate to become more serious or intense. It's a verb. So you might say small arguments can escalate into major problems. All right? Escalate. Okay? When my wife saw me talking to a younger woman, her anger began to escalate. And all I was doing was asking for directions. I couldn't find anyone unattractive. I'm sorry. I asked for directions. So you could say, Jay, your wife has you under close surveillance. Yes, she monitors my behavior. See how I use today's words in a sentence? That's all you have to do. All right? Escalate, monitor, surveillance. Just have fun with it. It doesn't have to be a serious sentence. You could just make a sentence so you can become more familiar with the word. That would be funny. How are you doing? Man, my wife got me under surveillance. But I'm doing good. I'm feeling contained. Okay, some passengers were transferred in specialized biocontainment units out of an abundance of caution, according to health officials. So in other words, people got scared, so they started putting people in biosuits. That's what that sentence says, okay? And they were telling them basically, look, get them out of here. They're coughing, they're sneezing, they're bleeding. Get them over there. Put them over there by that side of the cruise ship, okay? So that's what it means when they were transferred, okay? They were taken from one location to another, okay? Biocontainment units. They were placed in special either suits or rooms that would keep them from transmitting the virus. Okay? Out of an abundance of caution. In other words, people were scared. We want to stay safe, so get over there, all right? The incident has renewed concerns about how quickly infectious diseases can spread in crowded travel settings, particularly when travelers are far from immediate medical care. So being on a ship, you're out in the middle of the ocean, and so people are concerned when healthcare can be days away. And that's another reason I don't like ships, because whatever happens on the ship, you're stuck, all right? Investigators are still trying to determine the original source of the outbreak, okay? The original source, okay? When we talk about a source, it's the origin of something. Where did something begin, all right? Doctors tried to find the source of the infection, okay? So they tried to find out, where did this begin, okay? The original source. Okay, before I give you our last quiz for today, let's read through the article at a faster pace without stopping. I want to test your comprehension. I want you to get used to hearing these English terms, words, and phrases, okay? Let's dive back in. Health officials are monitoring a deadly hantavirus outbreak linked to the cruise ship MV Hondas after multiple passengers became seriously ill during an expedition voyage. Authorities say at least 3 people have died, while several others remain under medical observation. Hantavirus is a type of virus spread mainly by rodents like mice and rats that can make people seriously sick. The outbreak involves the Andes strand of Hantavirus, a rare version capable of limited human-to-human transmission. Experts say the confined environment aboard the ship may have amplified the risk of exposure among passengers. Passengers described the situation as deeply alarming, with many suddenly placed in quarantine after learning they may have been in close contact with infected travelers. Several Americans were later transported back to the United States for monitoring and treatment. Officials emphasize that the outbreak remains relatively confined for now, although health agencies continue extensive surveillance efforts to track possible infections across multiple countries. Medical experts say hantavirus infections can rapidly escalate, especially when symptoms begin affecting the lungs and respiratory system. Some passengers were transferred in specialized biocontainment units out of the abundance of caution. According to health officials, the incident has renewed concerns about how quickly infectious diseases can spread in crowded travel settings, particularly when travelers are far from immediate medical care. Investigators are still trying to determine the original source of the outbreak. All righty then. Okay, let's look at our last quiz questions for today's lesson. Source, surveillance, and escalade. Okay. Number 1, use the comment section. The store installed blank cameras for security. That's an easy one. Or you could say Jay's wife keeps him under close blank. Number 2, small disagreements can blank quickly. And number 3, investigators searched for the blank of the issue. All right. So I think you should get these correct fairly easily as I pat myself on the back for doing a good job explaining them. Okay, so when you pat yourself on the back, you give yourself some praise. So with that being said, guys, I have 2 simple strategies. Number 1, take 2 words from today's lesson. Make sure you practice using them in a sentence like I showed you earlier. Okay, this will strengthen your vocabulary and your comprehension. Secondly, watch today's lesson twice, once with the subtitles on and once with the subtitles off. Make sure that you do this because it will boost your confidence, okay? Finally, if you have been helped and you're not a subscriber, what are you doing? Hit that subscribe button. Let me know where you're watching from, okay? Make sure you do my 2 strategies. And if you have enjoyed today's lesson, tell your grandmother, tell your mother, tell a coworker, okay? Tell somebody, share it with them. Let them know that Jay is helping you to improve your English in a serious but yet fun way, okay? With that being said, guys and girls, I hope you enjoyed the rest of your day. Thank you to all of my channel subscribers and members. I have some new members. Yay! Thank you, guys. You are helping me. It takes a lot of time and work, and so you showing your support is going to help me grow the channel, okay? I hope you guys join me on my next English video. I'll see you then. Bye-bye.